Whoa, nah. Welcome to another episode of I Choose You podcast, where we discuss all things marriage. We're your hosts. This is my wife, Naisha, and I am Gregory. Before we dive in, there are a few house rules to be followed. One, be respectful of one's opinion. Two, have fun. Three, make sure that you share this podcast all up and down your social media platforms. So, tonight's discussion, we will be talking about forgiveness in all shapes, forms, of fashion. Is it hard to forgive? Is it by choice? Who is it for? So, thank you for tuning in for another episode of I Choose You podcast. So, what is forgiveness? To me, forgiveness is an intentional act or decision to let go of resentment and anger, the act or hurt or offense that someone might have brought to you. So, is forgiveness a choice, or is it hard to just say, I'm not forgiving that person? For me, forgiveness is taking responsibility for how you feel, uh, letting go of past hurt or anger. Uh, it is a choice because you can choose to forgive and forget, but at the same time, I believe that if you forgive someone, you will heal yourself. A lot of times we hold on to unforgiveness and we wonder why things in our lives is not changing for the better because we holding on to something. And it's like the more you hold on to that unforgiveness, it's like it builds this toxic up in your body to like hurt you. Because every time you see this person, those old feelings come up. According to scripture, it say, forgive somebody 7 times 7. And the person might come back and say, well, how can I forgive that person if they keep doing the same thing? If you let them do the same thing, then that's the choice you made. But uh forgiveness is not forgetting what happened. Forgiveness does not minimize the pain. Forgiveness is not making an excuse for what the other person done to you. Forgiveness does not mean reconciling with the person who hurt you. The forgiveness is for you. You know what I mean? It's not for that person. You know what I mean? So I would want to be forgiven for anything that I do to a person. I always ask for forgiveness because no one is perfect. Uh, and then a lot of times, I believe that a lot of people are afraid to forgive somebody because of who they told. As I was doing this, I was thinking that, man, I know a lot of times people be worrying about how other people feel after they be forgave somebody, or they'll let another person influence their decision or their choice on forgiving someone. So it's kind of like, do you really want to forgive and move on, or do you want to be stuck in that place of unforgiveness? How do you feel about that, babe?
Um, Using my own examples, there have been times where I know forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for myself. However, there have been times where I wanted to say, for those who have hurt me, I wanted to hurt them just as much, and forgiveness wasn't even on my mind. I want you to hurt the same way you hurt me. I want to do the 10 times worse to you than what you did to me so you can feel worse than how you made me feel. It took me a long time. Even right now in my life, there are certain people that I have forgiven, moved on. It no longer makes me feel no type of way. But I have to admit that there is still one person that forgiveness is nowhere near on my list. Again, forgiveness is not for The other person is for yourself. But there's one person that I'm just not there yet.
It takes time. It's crazy that you said that because that was something that I I I, I came across too. It takes time. That's like if we wrong one another, in your heart, you might want to forgive me, but it's not up to the person to pester you for that forgiveness. It's about being patient. Now, some people wait years and years and years before they forgive people. You know what I mean? Not realizing that, did I really hurt this person the way they say I hurted them? Or is this person just being bitter about the situation? You know what I mean? Because everybody situation is different on how they see forgiveness. You know what I mean? Uh like I said, forgiveness is a choice, man. And it's not like it just could happen randomly. You know, you got people holding on for unforgiveness since they was kids. You know what I mean? Like a situation that I was in that you helped me. You was like, Gregory, how are you gonna heal if you don't forgive? Nah, I forgave this person. And to this day, I really don't feel no type of way about them, how they trespassed me, but at the same time, it's like it happened. I forgave it was for me, and I'm clear. This person reach out to me. I accept the text messages. I accept the phone calls. I accept the words of encouragement because I see that person is trying to change. You know what I mean? If the person that offend you is trying to change and they're showing you day by day that they're trying to change for the better, I think that we should extend that forgiveness no matter what. You know what I mean? A lot of times, we can't forgive because it's just worrying, you know what I mean? Worrying about this, that, and the other.
I think it's more so a lot of people don't want to forgive because they are people don't again, like we just said, people don't really understand that forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for yourself, it's for your own peace of mind, it's for your own sanity. But people have a hard time forgiving others because they are looking for that person to acknowledge what they've done. If it's hard for me to forgive you, that's because I'm looking for you to admit what you did was wrong. And once you admit that you were wrong,
That's what
then it's easier for me to forgive you. But again, that means I'm literally waiting. I may be waiting 10 years, but that's 10 years wasted because you're worrying about if this person's going to ever come to you and admit. A lot of people act like they don't know what they did to hurt somebody. You know what you did.
right.
You know
So
what you did, and they know what you did. You know what they did to you, and they know what they did to you. But at some point, you have to become mature enough to forgive them and let it go. Now, again, I did just admit that I'm not there yet with one particular person, and the example that I just gave is kind of seem like I'm um what's the word I'm looking for?
contradicting yourself.
Contradicting myself, but
No,
I'm not contradicting myself
you're
because
not.
my feelings are valid. However, like I told you, even if I see this person right now, is
No, but like I said earlier, like I said, it's like you say, you want the person to acknowledge
right,
the
and I
hurt.
that situation, I want that person to acknowledge.
So, so do you think this person know that they?
Yes,
Wow, that's something new. But I feel like, in a sense, you ain't entitled to that because my next thing was gonna say is like you said, once that person acknowledge it, then they'll give you a better understanding. Like they finally admitted, they apologize, that gives you a better understanding. That helps you have a little bit more empathy for them because they might not know. Only reason why I say that because a lot of time when people offend you, sometimes people, to me, they don't do it intentionally. Now, if a person does something to offend you intentionally, that's different.
but how is it different if you've done something to intentionally hurt me? How is it different?
So a person does something to intentionally hurt you. A lot of times we do things not knowing that we're hurting someone.
But we talking about my situation.
Right.
That
This
person know what
knows-
they did.
Right.
And they did it intentionally.
Okay.
Whether it was to directly or indirectly hurt me, you did what you did intentionally. And when I see you, we gotta go there. But what I'm saying, and I probably am contradicting myself. Who knows? But it says, don't wait for someone to apologize. You do what's right and forgive them anyway, because it's what God commands us to do. Regardless of the situation, you be obedient to clear you and let God deal with the other person.
That's a fact.
It's fake. It takes growth to get there.
It takes
And like I said, there have been several situations where I refused to forgive someone, and I felt and seen what it done to my physical man.
Right.
So I had to let that go.
Right.
But this, and I'm not gonna keep talking about that situation.
Do you think it has control over you? Because I feel like when I was writing this about forgiveness, the forgiveness that I had to forgive the person, it had control over me, because you know how it affected me, and you helped me. Because in my mind I was like, nah, I gotta do this. I gotta do this, and I was stuck on that. I gotta do this. But at the time when I wanted to do it, I couldn't do it because of other individuals. Because I was like you, I was hurt, so I wanted that person to hurt. That old saying goes, hurt people hurt people. You know what I mean? Or tit for a tat. Or you did it to me, like you just said, I want to do it 10 times worse to you. But do you think that's valid? Because it's like, like she says, it's going back to the Bible. It says, forgive that person regardless of what they do. Because now, if you go back and do 10 times worse, that means your sin is even worse than theirs. Especially we say we're going to live this life. And I can remember the conversation you was telling me is like, if you hurt me publicly, forgive me publicly. Mm-hmm. So what if they hurt you and nobody doesn't know? It's just y'all, until one of y'all put the business out there that I hurt them. How do you go about that? If I hurt you and nobody don't know but me and you, but then people find out because you told them, how do you go about that? But if I forgive you behind closed door when nobody know, how do you go about that?
So like you said, if you hurt me publicly, you're going to apologize publicly. Okay. But if you hurt me privately, I'm expecting you to apologize privately too. It's just, I don't know, because I'm good with helping others be able to overlook that, but when it comes to myself, I have to sit and ask myself, is it worth it? Am I looking for that person to actually apologize to me? No, I'm really not. But it's just, I don't even look my way. But what I'm saying is just the pain that it caused is what's making me want to go the other way. But when it comes to forgiving people, I may get in my own mood, and it may take me a while, but I do forgive. Like, even it was another situation to where it took me 10 years to forgive this person. And the only way I was able to forgive them is that we literally sat down and talked and realized the common denominator was the problem. And then we became one accord. The whole time it was different sides being told. And then after 10 years later, we were able to sit down and just talk about it.
Right.
How can you ask God to forgive you when you can't forgive others?
In that sense, with me, I have found it easy to forgive people. She'll tell you, I'm one of them people, like I was one of them people that I was always, I'm gonna get you because you got me. But then, like I said, sitting in prison, and it was one person that I always wanted to just like, I'm gonna get you. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna keep nice. It just like Gregory. Forgive him. And when I wrote the person, told him how I felt, that person wrote me back and said they were sorry. And said they were sorry several times. Even since I have been out and have been in communication with me, I accept that forgiveness, because I know sometimes things are done intentionally, but not knowing how it mess with you mentally and physically. You know what I mean? Not forgiving somebody, like she said, has disrupted her inner being. You know what I mean? It hurts because you holding on. It's like you start building up bitterness, and every time you see this person, it just becomes like, but it's hurting you. Like, I'm trying to go this route, but at the same time, something is hurting me, and that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Janetta says, "Hello, Rice. How are you? We are fine.
We're doing good. Thank you.
So I have a comment and a question. So I have had this topic discussed before, and I totally agree with everything you both are saying about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for you. It's for you. It's not for the other person. It is not accepting the wrong that was done to you. It's not even acknowledgement or admission of what they've done. Forgiveness is basically for you to forgive and move on so you can grow and won't stop your blessings. True. However, the hardest thing for me was to
I think it's forget.
Was to forget. Is that right?
Yeah. A lot of times it is hard to forget. It is. Go ahead, babe.
So it is hard to forget. And so that also, so that's kind of why I kind of don't like the saying forgive, but don't forget, because when you forgave that person, but you still have it in your mind. So it's almost like every time I see this person, I forgave them, but that's still in the back of my head. So why can't we forgive and forget?
I feel like you. I'm gonna use your. When I was writing this, I thought about you, and I wrote, you have to choose to let go. You know, even though it's hard to forget, you have to choose to let go and release, renew, and revive yourself. So as I was writing this, I definitely thought about you in a situation of release, renew, and revive. But at the same time, it's like you have to have an understanding of who that person is at that time in their lives. A lot of people change over time. Like you said, it took 10 years for you to sit down with a person and get a better understanding of what was going on. And a lot of us haven't forgave our spouses. A lot of us haven't forgave our parents. A lot of us haven't forgave our friends. So it's like somebody asks, can you survive in a relationship without forgiveness?
Hold on, before we answer this, so I went to find the rest of Shanetta's question. It says, however, the hardest thing for me was to forgive a person that didn't even appear to be sorry. That's what I was saying right there. So my question is there anything that you would consider unforgivable, and how does that work with the principles of forgiveness?
If a person feel like, she said they didn't even seem to be sorry about the situation.
So that's just what I was saying. You got people who intentionally hurt, and they know they hurt you, but they were swept down. They ain't did nothing to you.
I think it's steps to forgiveness. Like, if that person can't acknowledge that hurt or consider it, that's like trash. To me, that's like trash, because a lot of time people make excuses for how you feel, or oh, that wasn't nothing, why you tripping or whatever. And it in all nationality, they hurted you. You know what I mean? So that's just crazy though. So that would be, if a person feel like they're not sorry, that would be something hard to forget. And I know, like she said, every time you see this person, you'll be like, dang, I didn't let this, you know what I mean, get over on me like that. And that's when they start playing tricks on you. But one thing I can say is, for you, you know what I mean, you forget that person and just cut ties, whatever it may be, especially if they seem not sorry about it, not genuinely sorry. You would know when somebody is genuinely sorry about something. You know what I mean? They're going to come to the conclusion of saying, you know what? I'm gonna come to you boldly. One thing a lot of people have a problem with is boldly admitting to when they was wrong. That I'm a man, I can say that when I'm wrong, sometimes it's hard for me to admit and say I'm wrong because I'm always trying to justify what I did.
And that is not that. So if you're gonna justify, why open your mouth to try
To
to
right,
apologize?
right.
If you know you did wrong, be man enough, be woman enough to own it. Take your lick and apologize. And don't try to make excuses or don't try to justify, oh, I apologize, but I did it because it is. No, if you're gonna do that, you might as well keep it and don't waste my time.
So basically, you saying if a person did something, just just be open, honest, like the word say, be open, be honest, and acknowledge what you've done, ask for forgiveness, and let that person have the choice
Right. To accept it or not.
to accept it or not.
Right.
So,
Says the longer you harbor those ill feelings, the longer the hurt and bitterness will linger. Stop giving life to it by holding on to it. Be obedient and forgive, like God said. Pray about it, let it go, and allow God to fix it. Which is a good point, which also brings me to my next thought as I was reading. You have people who, let's go relationship wise, because
okay,
this what the Hillmead experience is for regarding marriages and whatnot. So, what do you do if you're in a relationship and that person offended you time after time after time after time? Y'all married, then y'all get a divorce, go y'all separate ways. But then one of y'all are still holding on to all the bad things that has happened. Why is it so hard to let that part go if y'all are no longer together? Y'all both have went y'all separate ways. Why is it so hard to let the past be the past?
like she said, sometimes for me, this thinking about the situation, sometimes people looking for that acknowledgement of hurt. And it's like, and to me, it's like people try to, it's like a tick for tat thing. You did this, I did that, blaming one another instead of just sitting down and saying, "Hey, I want to share something with you that like you say you did, and share something with you that happened in the past between us that I need to get off my chest. I know you moved on, I haven't, but I think this is what's hindering me from moving on." And sit down and have that discussion and let that person see that you're really hurt by this situation and see if they acknowledge me, like, you know what, I never seen it like that, I'm sorry. If you don't come to that conclusion, or if you don't forgive that person or ask for that one-on-one, then you never know what you would get. Because sometimes people don't, like you say, stuff happens so much that people start blaming other people for what goes on in their relationship, when at the same time it's right there in your face, especially if you moved on. If me and you was to come to the conclusion and we wrong one another, I believe that we can still come down and have a mutual agreement, be like, hey, this what happened, I messed up, and we always been like that, I'm sorry. Now, like you say, it's a choice to forgive that person. You know what I mean? Because that was gonna be my next thing too, talking about uh is it hard to forgive, like you say, a cheating spouse? Now, is it consecutively? How do you forgive? But if it happened, do you forgive it? Do you forgive it once and say, "All right, it happened," and move on, or do you say, "No, that's a wrap"? Especially if you love this person and you want to make it work.
Because I'm quick to give
Anytime.
I'm doing better with extending grace to people and giving them another chance. So let's, God forbid, if that happened between, or you did that to me or anything, would I would probably forgive you the first time. But then after that, that's a rub.
Why?
Because I'm not in a position to where I want to take on the feelings of accepting it over and over. Just not. But that's
So
my choice. I mean,
that's a choice, and people have to live with the decision if you stay or if you go. But like I say, I feel like a lot of times in relationships, people only leave or break up with their significant other by what they being told people outside of what's in the household. Because if nobody don't know what's going on inside the household, and we discuss it and we go to God and say, hey, I did this, I broke this, I'm coming to you, such and such, I believe that everything could be worked out and forgiven. To me,
true.
to me, is when we have outside influences that's in our ear, girl, or nah, bro, you know what I mean? It
Amen.
start
Corners. Yeah.
it start playing with your mental, it
Yes,
start playing with
ma'am.
your heart, and you don't know what to do. Because deep down inside, you might be like, man, I love this person. I genuinely love this person. I messed up. I'm asking for grace. I'm asking for forgiveness. I'm acknowledging. I'm not justifying it. I'm not dumbing it down. I did that. Now, can we move forward? Now, it's also, you got to give that person time to accept it, heal from it, and y'all build off it. That's when boundaries come about. Trust issues. Hey, this is what I need. This is what I need to see more. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Before I move to the one of the next questions, so what you just said, were you outside influences? So first of all, if you're in a relationship and you're going through things, keep that within your relationship. Because, like he said, once you do allow outside influences to penetrate their thoughts and their emotions and their opinions on your situation, it's never going to work out for you and the person that you're with. That same energy that you're taking and expressing to somebody else, you could have took that and expressed it to the person who offended you, whether it's husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, best friends, brother, sister, mother, father, whatever. Take that directly to them. Take it directly to them because that's who you want it from anyway. So why are
right,
you running going to go
right,
chop it up with somebody else when you could have took that and took it to the person that offended you? Don't do that.
right. So I also say that a lack of forgiveness stirs up negative emotions and create more conflict. Because in the back of your mind, if you truly forgive someone, truly, and without a shadow of a doubt, I let that go, and you let that person know that can't happen no more.
Yeah.
But if you bring it up every time you get into it, you did this, you did that, that's stirring up more conflict. That pushes up. That's like, man, you ain't forgave me.
True.
I'm a witness of that. So you have to. She said, what she said? I think it's possible only if both parties do the required work to make it right.
That's true.
I think it's true too. I think it's also true.
Those persons who takes it to socials wants to be validated.
Socials. A lot of that's you right about that. A lot of times people, I guess people be looking for outside. A lot of people be confused. They want to forgive, and they like, I need a second opinion. If you second guessing your first mind, then you out of there.
And you really not ready to forgive them.
Because you want to know what everybody else think about it. That's why people always say, I'm gonna go to the comments and see what they say. Why you worrying about what the comments say when you should wholeheartedly forgive a person? So
It says we never forget the offense because we're human, but forgiving beings about the mental healing which allows you to release it.
so is it hard to let go and let God? Or are you gonna just say, you know what, I forgive that person and just move on?
Choices.
Choices.
Even a situation with me, I have a choice to forgive. I'm choosing not to. for this one particular situation. Everything else, I've forgiven. I'm in a better place with everything else. But like you said in the beginning, it's a choice. You can choose to forgive. You can even choose to let it go.
Right.
You can choose I feel like if I'm telling you, or if I'm speaking or praying and I'm like, Lord, I forgive them. I feel like if it's easy for you to forgive, it should be just as easy for you to forgive. Especially if you're not going to build a relationship with this person or keep in contact with this person. If you're not going to do none of that, it should be easy to forget it. A lot of us forget other important stuff. So some of y'all be forgetting birthdays. So why should it be hard to forget what somebody did to offend you?
So do you think, I don't know if I asked this already though, do you think a marriage can survive without forgiveness? In all honesty.
Can a marriage survive without forgiveness? No,
I agree.
because that's just like we get into it, go to bed, wake up the next morning, still thinking about what we just got into it about. We never talked about it. It probably could, because all you would do is just go on like as if nothing happened. But then it's also going to be in the back of your mind of all the things y'all done got into it about, but nobody actually sat down and talked about it.
So that in a sense is the relationship gonna erode. What I mean is it's gonna become like it's gonna become brittle. It's gonna break up. Because if you can't sit down and hash, I don't believe no relationship, marriage, single, divorce, baby daddy, widow, shacking up, mama, daddy, brother, sister. I don't think no relationship can survive without forgiveness. Because I can forgive you today or tomorrow and don't even talk to you no more.
Exactly.
So I don't think a relationship could survive without forgiveness, because then you're shutting down opportunities for healthy communication. Like you say, if we don't talk about it, we didn't broke all communication barriers. Because like you
Right.
said, in the back of your mind, you're gonna be like, man, I know this nigga ain't even say nothing. And you know me, I'm quick to try to, I ain't gonna say try, quick to clean some up if I offended you. You know I am.
True.
I'm gonna acknowledge my wrong. A lot of people, I think that's what hurts people, because they can't acknowledge their wrong. You know what I mean? And
Wait, I want this one says, because birthdays don't hurt, but hurt is painful. That's in regards to when I said people be forgetting birthdays. So I feel like it should be just as easy to forget if somebody offended you. I mean, I'm saying if you forgave that person, if you have no more ties with them, if you're not doing anything with them, you're not going to see them no more or anything, why would you allow that to keep space in your head? Let it go. If you forgiving them, let what they did to offend you, let that go as well. Now, there's a difference if, say, I'm gonna use this, Brit. If Brit offended me and I forgave her, we still have a common ground with each other. So I'm going to see her. She's going to see me. So if I forgave her, but it's still in the back of my head, and I feel some type of way every time I see her, then I really didn't forgive her. But because I know I'm going to see her and I forget, and I took it upon myself to forgive her. Let's say she never came to me and talked to me, knowing she offended me. She didn't come to me, but I say, look, I know she never came to me. I'm going to forgive her because I have to see her. And I don't want that to be between us. I'm going to take the choice to forget that.
Right.
If I genuinely forgave her, I'm going to, why not forget it? Especially because I'm going to see her.
But that's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not reconciling with the person who hurt you. It's for you. It's never for them. But when people realize that the forgiveness is not for that person, it is for you, and I think that everything will be healthy. Because like you say, I don't have to see them if I don't want to.
You can also choose to let it go and move on, especially if the person is not making an effort to reconcile the situation. Correct. So my situation, I forgave a person that wasn't even sorry. I did that for me. I wish the person well and moved on with my life. I learned from the situation so I can heal and not recycle that hurt to my spouse and children.
That's good. I applaud you for that.
Mm-hmm.
I applaud you for that. A lot of
Thank you,
people.
sis, for understanding my point.
Right, right. I understood. A lot of people. What she did say is basically what forgiveness is all about, man. Because it's like a lot of times we feel like people owe us something. I'm gonna use a situation that I was in. I feel like, dang man, all these people I rock with, ain't nobody mess with me. And you always say, you say you ain't gonna mess with these people. But in my mind, in my heart, I'm like, you know what? I forgive them because it's an old saying. I won't say it. We know how it go. You know what I mean? But I'm like, dang, this is me, Ray Ray. I look out for everybody. So I feel like certain people should have been in my life when I needed them the most, but they wasn't. And I have to see these people every day. So how did I deal with that situation? I had to forgive and let go. Because I don't know what they was going through, at the time. If a person don't tell you what they're going through at the time and you feel like you need them, you would never know until it just things that start coming out. You be like, wow.
Yeah.
So I always say forgiveness does not mean reconcile with the person who hurt you. Forgiveness is not excusing what the other person did. Forgiveness does not deny or minimize your pain. That's what forgiveness is not. It's not.
Just because you forgive someone does not mean you have to return back to the original relationship. That's correct. Offense does not give you the same access because you now know who they are. When they show you who they are, believe them.
So basically what I'm getting from that is maybe I'm wrong, just my opinion. So if a person offends you once, that shows you who a person truly is. I thought it takes several times for that offense to keep happening. So one offense opens a door to show you who a person really is. I'm just asking.
I don't feel that way. I mean, like I said, I'm just like we're going back to the example you used earlier. I mean, it's just, but I guess I'm gonna just say it depends on the situation. It depends on the situation.
So,
but I Naisha Marie Ray is I have a habit of giving people chance after chance after chance.
how many
Maybe
chances?
I shouldn't, but
How many chances would you want to be given?
that's a good question because it makes you think how many. That's a great question actually because if somebody offends you, if somebody offends you and I, I'm so glad he said that because that's the mentality that I have. I give people grace and I forgive people because I know I'm not perfect and I want to be forgiven. And then I also think about as many times as I have failed in so many things, God continues to forgive me over and over and over. So why can't I do the same thing? If we gonna be honest, if everybody talking about I love God, I believe in God and this and that, He forgives us daily. So why is it hard? Why we can't do the same thing? And I feel like I do the same thing because I think about the times, how many times do I want to be forgiven? So I'm going to extend that same thing. So if the Bible says we should forgive 70 times 7, then why is it hard? Why? So I have a question for you, Mom. Mama. If the Bible says we should forgive 70 times 7, then why does it take one offense for somebody to show you who they truly are?
You say believe them. That's why I asked that because people could hurt you intentionally or unintentionally. People could hurt you with words because we're in the flesh and not the spirit.
Which is also true, but that goes back to what how I handle people. I handle people accordingly to how I want to be handled. I don't know. I do know, but
She said, the Bible says forgive 7 The spiritual forgiveness, and what does it mean? The spiritual meaning of forgiveness doesn't mean forgiving. That's my opinion. From what I read, from what she'll tell you, I've been having my Bible open, just want to get a different perspective of it. That's what I got. Doesn't mean forgiving. Rather, forgiveness means letting go of the pain, the incident it has caused you. We forgive to give ourselves peace of mind and in hopes that one day we will return the favor if we was ever offended.
mm-hmm.
So if we say we live in the spirit, yes, because we do be in the flesh. We do be in the flesh. Pastor talk about that. We still have to extend that grace. Because me and Aisha had that conversation. She was like, if you did this to me, how would you feel if I did it to you? I'd be hurt. But I told her, I said, why would you do that? Because all that's doing is opening up more doors for more things to happen. Because the situation she told me, and the person was like, and I was like, wow, the person was cheated on. The person said, you know what, that person cheated on me, but I didn't get in another relationship until after we was already through. And I was like, that's being a bigger person. They didn't go and say, I'm gonna be a tit for a tat. They forgave that person and they moved on. And I was like, wow, that's showing you that I'm big enough. You did this to me, but I'm not gonna do this to you. It just blows my mind to see the maturity in people when it comes to certain things. You know what I mean? I feel like it's 7 steps to forgiveness. 7 is the number to completion.
You give people chance after chance because you have the heart of God.
I'm gonna just say it's not chance after chance. I'm
But
not
it
gonna
is because if God,
go ahead, baby.
we talking about the Bible as well. So if God continues to feel like I said, forgive us daily, I want to be forgiven daily too. So I'm going to. It's not to say I'm going to accept you like back in my life and this and that, but if you,
All right. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this.
you don't want to get taken advantage of. Let's say
No, you
that
don't. You
you
don't
don't
want
want to
to
get
get
taken
taken
advantage
advantage
of
of.
just because I forgive you over and over and over and over, whatever. No, just know that it's still. I'm noting. I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down, and eventually I am going to cut what,
Nothing.
and eventually I am going to cut you off. And if Naisha cut you off,
You're cut
it's
off.
because you did something and you kept trying to play me over and over and over, knowing I'm going to forgive you. And at some point I am going to get fed up and I'm just gonna cut it off. So if I cut you off, it's because you kept trying to play me. Even knowing I've accepted your apology and I forgave you.
I believe in forgiveness. You have to accept that you cannot change the past.
Yep. Most
You
people
have
do
to
take
determine,
advantage.
right? You have to acknowledge the hurt. Consider how the hurt and the pain affected you. Determine whether or not, again, you will forgive or not forgive. Try to repair that, learn from that, and forgive. Period. Acknowledge, consider, accept, determine, repair, learn, forgive. Learn from that mistake. They say change at the change. I told you about the situation I was in. I cut the person off because I feel like they were trying to play me. They never apologized for it. They just feel like, man, you tripping about that? Yes, I'm tripping about that. Don't try to play me. It was one time, but I know me, that was then. Now, I don't put myself in the situations for that. I want to be forgiven at all times because I know that I'm not a perfect man. I know this. Daily, I stay saying that I'm not perfect. I struggle daily. I'm quick to forgive at all times. Hey, man, I'm sorry. If I offended you in any shape, form, or fashion, I always put that shape, form, or fashion. I'm asking for forgiveness. And I genuinely mean that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I don't know. Sometimes subconsciously, We don't even be knowing what we saying. All we doing, we just going. And you stay telling me, Gregory, slow down and think. Because once I'm on, it just whatever come out, whatever happened, I don't care. Then I gotta think about, damn, I just offended that person. So I'm looking for forgiveness.
Yeah.
That's just daily.
Shanetta said, right. I was trying to think of how to word that. Like, yes, forgive, turn the other cheek, but also be mindful of your needs as well. You have to protect yourself, even in trying to forgive and extend grace. That's true. I
That's
know
true.
would.
That's true. That's true. So in a relationship, do you believe that all things is forgivable?
Yes.
Truly,
Yes.
all things.
Yes.
Why?
Because that's how I feel. I don't have any. I really do. Y'all. Sometimes I struggle with explaining how I think about things and people and situations. Most people will call me crazy because I think about. Let's take it off a relationship. Let's think about. I'm gonna just tell y'all what goes through my head. Like I think about people that are sitting in prison, and I'll be like, and I used to go read up on people to see what they went in for, and I'll be like, I just either start praying and if and thinking about if that was something they did to me, would I be able to forgive them? Prime example, and I can be honest about this. The person that took David's life, when had to go up in court and read the paperwork, read the letter that I wrote. Isaiah was standing up there with me. I don't remember who it was. I think it was just Isaiah. While I was reading my, I forgot what it's
Impact
called, my
statement.
impact statement, I was forgiving him at the same time. I'm reading an impact statement because you took somebody from my children and I, but at the same time, I'm forgiving him. I even wrote that in my impact statement. I forgive you. Did I write that?
I think you did. I think you told him or said it.
I don't remember. But in my heart, I was like, I forgive him. Now, in that same sense, those who went with me more than likely did not forgive him. Which is why I say you got to keep outside people out of how you thinking, because I feel like had I told anybody else I forgive him, I would have got all kind of backlash, which is that's how people feel. But in my heart, I forgave him. Even when at first I wanted him to get the amount of years that David was when he took David away. But when we heard, I think he only got 15, my heart was settled with that. I was fine with that. I didn't have hate in my heart for the man. I didn't have nothing. Yes, you took that, especially from my children. You took him from my children. But I forgave that man right then and there. That's why I say people will never understand my heart or my mind, because I feel like a normal person, that's unforgivable. But I'm not normal. I forgave the man. That's so when you ask me, is there things that are forgivable? Are there, what you ask me?
Is there certain things that's not forgivable in a relationship,
And I feel like all things are forgivable in a relationship. All of them,
even in marriage?
even in marriage. I
It,
told y'all I want to be forgiven daily.
and the
So
only
I'm
reason,
gonna forgive.
and yeah, she's healing. And the only reason why I brought this up tonight because I last week it was kind of, I'm not gonna say it was off. It just was a little different. And I told Naisha, I was like, we talk about different things, especially relationship ties before we come on here. And I was like, a big thing that we see daily. I always ask, I say, baby, is that forgivable? You know what I mean? Because we'll see other people relationship, and I was like, dang, that happened. Like, how did that go? And me and her discuss it. And then I just think about other situations. I'm not trying to put nobody business out there. I'm just like, baby, what if that was us? And she told me something. I'm not gonna put it out there because that's none of y'all business. And I was like, okay. Not to say, Gregory, you better not go do that or whatever, but it's like, wow. And it's like she said, it's like a healing process of forgiving somebody. You know what I mean? Because it's like you get a sense of relief.
Yeah.
Like
That's
today,
what it
I
is.
offended my baby, and the first thing I said, I was like, man, I'm sorry. I got a relief for myself. You know what I mean? And then when she came to me and was like, babe, I forgive you, I was like, okay, I'm back good now. Other than that, I was in there just moseying around, cooking, doing what I do or whatever.
I got something to say about that. But first, it's just, and that's what you do. Let go and let God. God does not want us to stay there and continue to get slapped around and abused. Forgive even when it kills you.
Oh.
Just for that simple fact that what God wants us to do, let go and let God. And then she said, yes, you did. Oh, so I did forgive him in my letter. And she said, and again, that forgiveness you gave him was for your healing. It was. I felt lighter after that. So yeah, beautiful hearts. Thank you. Love ya. Yes, it was for my healing. I mean, it didn't even take, I didn't even feel bad for that. It just, once I forgave him, it just felt like a release, like he just said, release. But going back to what he said just a few minutes ago about him offending me earlier, and then he did apologize, and then it took me a while, because once you offend me, it does take me to a while to forgive. Now I forgive, but it takes me a while to forgive. So I came in here and I gave him a hug, told him I forgive him, and then we, like, when it goes to relationships, when you offend your spouse, you can feel the tension. You can feel the tension. It's not until you both forgive each other to when you won't feel that tension anymore. So before that, I felt it wasn't thick, but I felt it, the offness. And as soon as I came and gave him a hug, it seemed like everybody went to talk, everybody went back to talking, everybody went to laughing, everybody went to doing what we normally do around here. So forgiveness helps people.
Yeah. Because people could feel when something going on. You know what I mean? It's like if we on here and they be like, man, something off about them tonight. They hear, but it's just off. You know what I mean? It's just
We had that moment.
anyway. Anyway.
Well, y'all already know by now. Y'all should know we talk about everything and we be 100 about everything. So it's no point of lying. And even with that episode, I had to, everybody was texting me and telling me, don't worry about it because we need that realness. It was for me, I guess, because I have in my head a certain way things should go when it comes to this, that I forgot that we also are being real with the people. And it's okay for that, they should see that we are not perfect. And I think that's what the problem was, that I was so used to giving that perfect, oh, we're in love, we're in heaven on earth type of feeling, that when it went left, it shifted a little bit. I didn't like that. But then I was reassured by other people texting me after the show, telling me that it was really helpful. So that's what we do over here. We keep it real and we keep it honest. So
Raw and uncut
we're on it
in a civilized way.
in a civilized way.
Relationships, like Keisha
It
said,
takes work daily.
yeah,
It
it
does.
does. I tell people all the time, man, marriage is a full-time job, just like parenting is. Meaning you have a commitment that you made a vow on the
Mhm.
God. You know what I mean? And I'm not, I'm gonna say it is hard being truthful to your vows,
She
especially
said,
everything,
hold up.
a whole job, especially what you say, because sometimes we forget the commitment or the vows we said, because now we married, we living, we
It's
parenting,
normal now.
we
Yeah.
it's normal. When you go back to those vows, back to forgiveness, it's like, man, what did I just sign up for? And it's crazy because you know what I mean. Me and my boss was talking about that. He just was just sharing some things with me about marriage, and he was even saying the same thing. A young man, young, married, and he was just telling me about his struggles. And he was like, "G Ray, don't think that you the only one just go through it. You know what I mean? Everybody's situation is different. You know what I mean? And because when it comes to this marriage, I want to be picture perfect, but it's not going to be like that. You know what I mean? It ain't no Cinderella in the glass shoe. You know what I mean? I'm just being real and honest. You know what I mean? But I look for grace daily. I always ask for grace daily. I ask for forgiveness daily, not just from her, but from myself. I have to forgive myself daily for things that me not knowing, just a mere man, because a lot of things is new to me. Forgiveness is not new to me. You know what I mean? But forgiveness in marriage is new to me. You know what I mean? Because I feel like
Wow. That's a good. I'm glad you said that. The faces you make. Cause y'all know I'm goofy as well. I take the serious thing and we'll laugh about it, okay? But you just said a statement that I forgot. What you just said?
forgiveness in marriage.
Forgiveness in marriage. So what is the difference? Because you said forgiveness in marriage is new to you. So why is forgiveness in marriage new when forgiveness is forgiveness, no matter who it is?
Because I always say, if I did something and I know it's gonna hurt you to the point where I'm gonna lose you, I might as well just leave. But just knowing, thinking about my grandma, the things that she been through in her marriage, and just thinking about like what is what is people always say you can't compare other people's relationships.
Please don't.
You can't. But I always go back to my grandparents, 75 years of marriage, and the things they've been through. But people say we're not living in that time, but my grandma said that you have a spirit. So that's why I was like, what is forgivable in a marriage? And like mama said, everybody say all things, but we're not gonna allow that to happen because you know the
Mm-hmm.
situation that I'm talking about. Okay, the first one, all right, I forgive you. But then you go and drop another one off on me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm asking is that forgivable too? And you was like, well, that person forgave, they ain't got nothing to do with us. But you was like, I ain't. You know what I mean? So it's like, cause everybody, for me with forgiveness, everybody wanna be forgiven. But like you said, if you did it once, all right. You wouldn't done it again, the same thing. It's like, man. And I be wondering what goes through people's head. And I ask from a woman's perspective, what goes through your head? He's like, I never been in that situation. Because I know if my significant other did it to me, he was like, do you want me to do it to you? And I was like, ooh. And I know how I am about you. And I'm like, I might cry I'm gonna cry like a baby. I am. Now you becoming a habitual offender. What? Oh, okay,
It
okay, okay,
mean if
okay,
you
okay.
keep
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it
yeah.
over
Over
and
and
over
over
and
again.
over.
I'm like, what is mama talking about? Right. So it's like the seriousness of forgiveness in the relationship is crucial. For me, it is. That is crucial, man. Cause mama, I told you it's serious for me because it's like I feel like a lot of people, they not even in a relationship, just forgiveness overall. They slander my name. They talk behind my back. They say things about me that wasn't true. Uh, they wish death upon me. They wish I never got out. They just said things that my character, me, but you let other things influence you instead of just coming to a person and you just say what you want to say out your mouth.
Right, but in that same instance, are you around this person daily? No. Do you talk to this person every day?
No,
Right. So why do you still let that take space in your head?
in all honesty,
Yeah.
acknowledge me.
But forgiveness is not for the other person, it's
It's for
for
me.
you.
Right.
So if they never acknowledge that, you're going to allow that to stay in your head for what?
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna allow it to stay in my head. I just know now, like she said earlier, that I can't give you the benefit of the doubt or the same energy that I gave you earlier. Because I wrote that too. I can't give you that same energy that I once had for you.
Mhm.
Especially if I can't sit down and tell you.
See, if I feel they keep on doing it over and over, now they playing with you and taking your forgiveness and kindness for a weakness. True, I said that in the beginning too. That's why I like it. That's why I also say if I have gotten to the point to where I have cut you off, that's because you done tried me too many times. I can't even
Right.
say one too many times because I like to be forgiven daily. So I'm going to give that. But we also have to remember that human, we're not Jesus, and we can only turn a cheek so many times.
And don't get caught up in let me show them how it feels to get hurt.
But sometimes showing people showing people how it feels good.
For that moment.
Right, but that's all I need is a moment.
That's it.
That's all I need is a moment.
So now two people are hurt. I heard
How?
you heard me. Now we both, because you feel like I got you back. Now you see
So
how it feels.
I wish I can go into detail on the situation I'm talking about. Yet playing on my top, don't do that. And I wish I can go into very deep, grand detail about what I'm talking about, but I won't. So I'm gonna try to summarize it. I really feel like I will be at peace with this situation if I
Bring it to that person's attention.
and lay my hands on them. I feel like that's the only way I'm going to feel better is if I put my hands on. And it's to the point of I don't care about the repercussions after that, which is bad. Two wrongs don't make a right, but in that situation, I want my wrong.
To right how you feel.
My wrong is going to make me feel so much better. Even though two wrongs don't make a right, but I feel like my wrong is going to make me feel so much better. But that's because with that particular situation, I'm choosing, let me be honest, I'm choosing not to let that go. Once I'll be like, you know what, Naisha, you tripping, let it go. You don't even see this person anymore. You done cut them completely off. You done blocked them. You don't got no kind of ties, no kind of communication, no nothing. Once I get to the point of Naisha, you tripping, I'm gonna let it go. I'm almost there. Y'all keep me in your prayers. Pray for Naisha that Lord take that situation that is on Naisha's heart to do harm, remove that. I need everybody to touch and agree with that. And I'm so serious because I don't want to feel like that, but it's there right now. I'm so serious, y'all. When y'all pray for me, please add that little piece to your prayer and my name in the same sentence.
I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. I just hope that whatever the situation may be, people say, "Hey, man, understood." That's just like arguing with a fool. That makes the both of you fools. Nobody can tell the difference.
Oh, we could tell the difference in this situation. See, I'm even now. Before y'all, I used to get so mad when I talk about the situation. But now y'all see, I can laugh about it. So I told y'all, I'm getting there. Cause now I can laugh about it. At first, I couldn't laugh about it. I used to tear the house up, wishing I can get there. But now I can laugh about it. So I'm work in progress with that particular situation. Everything else, I'm good.
Tear the house up.
So listen, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I do feel you. I definitely see your point because we are human. That's why we have to constantly pray, thank you, and resist the devil in whatever form he may appear. And I've been doing so good at that. Lord knows I have. It's a testament right here. I'm laughing about the situation. So it says praying for peace with that situation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Said no wrong can be made into right. Wrong is wrong, right is right. Love. Y'all I know what
You got people putting up the praying hands. They all in agreement and testament. But
I'm getting better, y'all. I promise I am.
Everybody want to be forgiven, man. So my thing for tonight is this. For everybody, the listeners, the non-listeners, people that's gonna go back and watch it. If somebody has offended you in any shape, form, or fashion, the forgiveness is on you for you to heal and move forward.
Mhm.
It's not for them to come and say, "Hey, man, forgive me." As long as you're at peace with yourself and you let go and let God, even though it's gonna be hard to forget. I'm not taking that from you, Miss Collins. Forgive. We all want to be forgiven. Uh, it's an intentional decision to forgive. I think you'll be more healthier. You wouldn't be stressing. And uh, sorry for not answering your calls.
Really quick side chat. My phone is doing the fool right now. Y'all will not believe. For the past week, it's almost been a week. I've been going crazy trying to get this phone fixed. It is so that's why can't nobody reach me right now.
Email.
Email. That's the only way you're gonna reach me because my phone is just doing the most right now. I'm finna go back to trying to get my phone working because it's doing the most right now. So thank you for forgiving me for not answering your calls. It's not intentional though. It's not my phone.
It's
It's
not
messed up.
intentional. It's for your good.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I will.
Anyway, forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. Forgive others as you would want to be forgiven. Please. Everybody, not about to go in about this about your phone,
Y'all,
okay? Because
I know
I
some know a lot of
text you
people been
too.
texting me, but my phone is out of there for right now.
Anything else you want to say about forgiveness?
No, I said everything I wanted to say. Maybe when you forgive, think about how many times, think about all the things you have done to offend somebody and how many times you want to be forgiven and go from there. Now, if you have a situation that you know you need prayer about because you struggling with forgiving, hit me up. We're gonna pray together.
Praying with expectation, praising in advance, loving unconditionally.
Yep.
So tonight was about forgiveness. It's just something that's been on my heart. I just been seeing a lot of things that just been going on around me with people I know. And
And it's not even adults that deal with
yeah,
forgiveness. And the reason I said that because Anaya, she came in on our conversation yesterday. And she was listening to him explain to me everything he wanted to talk about. And Anaya she was really listening. Now Anaya, out of all my kids, she gonna ear hustle real good. So keep her out. Make sure she ain't around when you talking. But in this particular situation, my baby was she was sitting on our bed while we were talking. And she was just listening. She was shaking her head, nodding. And I was like, Anaya, what you think about it, forgiveness? She said, she started doing all the hand movements. She was like, but sometimes it's hard to forgive people. And I was like, why? And she said, because like sis said, be playing on your top, but she didn't say that. What she said was because people try to take advantage and try to play
She
you.
said play you.
And then she was speaking on the situations that she go through or have went through in school. She even gave me an example of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, Naya, did that have anything to do with you? Number one. She said no. I said, well, don't even worry about it. But that particular situation didn't have anything to do with her. But the people she was talking about previously offended her and they never apologized.
It did have something to do with her.
Not what she told us that time.
She said it had to do with her culture.
Right. That's what she said. It had something to do with her culture, is what she said, and how she said it.
Right.
And she was like, I can't forgive that because they offended my culture.
And they did it not once.
They did it over and over. But
right.
now Anaya is to the point she understands forgiving people.
Right.
And not allowing people to keep
doing the same thing over and over. So she forgave him. She just not messing with them no more.
Right. Like we said,
crazy.
Forgive them and cut them off after that if you don't want.
It's crazy.
And she's learning that.
Yeah, she learned that. She sat there and listened to me and, my wife talk about that last night in a whole conversation. I'm like, to hear her response today. Okay, I'm on my way to school. Don't do my baby.
Anaya is done with announcement time. Anaya is done with elementary.
school.
My baby graduated today.
She's on her way to middle school.
She came home and said, I'm officially a 6th grader. So we don't have to go up to that school anymore.
Right.
It's a new school now. So.
Yeah. But the conversations that we have, this for Anaya to be on point about forgiveness, just lets me know that, we talk about in church a lot forgiveness. We always ask for forgiveness because she even wrote up Mama a letter and say, Mama, forgive
That's another
me.
thing she did. That's my baby said. That's exactly what she said. She said it's a difference forgiving those who keep offending you and asking for forgiveness to your parents. She said it was a difference. Right. For example, she did something, she didn't follow instructions, right, and she knew to come home. She wrote me a long letter and she taped it on our room door, and had some Cheetos taped to that. So she knew, she wrote her apology out and she explained what she messed up at, and she asked me to forgive her, and she put me some chips taped on the door with it. The fact that she might, not just all my children, when they do something that they know has offended me, they're gonna write an apology letter and they're gonna try to add something to it and stick it in tape it to my door, slide it on the door. They're gonna do something. But the fact that they know how to decipher what's worth an apology and what's worth putting people to the side, not dealing with them no more, says a lot. So.
Right. Yeah, they good for that. They gonna forgive Mama. They don't give her apology.
Or they gonna beg until I forgive them. That's what they do.
Mama.
They gonna try to butt up and everything.
Butt me up. I don't get no letter. I don't get that. Papa get everything. Anyway, but yeah, tonight is about forgiveness. My prayers for everybody that's tuned in, that's listening again. Forgive 7 people tonight. Let's do that. Let's forgive 7 people tonight. Yeah, the number of completion. Because forgiveness is a trainable skill. Once you forgive one person, you'll forgive another one, then another one, then another one, then another one. Because it's going to give you peace and a sense of release.
So we're releasing tonight.
We're releasing tonight forgiveness on those people that has offended us. I mean, all people. Don't be holding nothing that happened 25 years ago in a relationship. 70 times 7. Mama, Rakisha, Miss Collins, Britt Lee, Mama Sonia, all y'all that's on here. Release. Naisha, Gregory, release, renew, and revive. The 3 R's. Please, y'all, please. And with that, I rest my case on forgiveness.
Well, and there's not anything else. Thank you all for joining in tonight. We are always appreciative of when you all join in. Make sure you tune in next week, 9:00 Thursday. We will be back here again, same time, same place. Make sure you tune in. Anything else?
Oh, by the way, I want to thank everybody for wishing my lovely wife cheers to 36.
Oh, y'all, I'm feeling this 36 too.
Anyway, we had a wonderful time. I know y'all seen all the pictures.
Me too, sis.
And the good enjoyment of the things that we did. But yes, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. I want to thank y'all for continuing to show support for the HME experience with us. I Choose You podcast. I know we didn't extend the questions out to you guys. If y'all did have any questions, gripes, complaints, y'all could do it right now. Y'all could comment and tell me how y'all feel, or email her, or email to help me experience or whatever. She gonna ask all your emails or whatever.
Ain't got no choice now.
But thank y'all for tuning in tonight, man. I enjoy being with y'all. I enjoy sharing our thoughts on forgiveness. Y'all be safe, and don't forget, before you go to bed tonight, forgive 7 people, the number of completion.
Just write it down. Write down them 7 people you gonna forgive. Tear it up, shred it, burn it, do something.
Put it in your Bible.
Yeah. Love you too, Mama. We love all of y'all.
And she goes about some Bishop Ray. Don't start that. She ain't ready to be no preacher's wife.
No, that ain't my calling. That ain't your calling either. Good night, y'all.
Good night, y'all. Blessings, man. Blessings. Blessings. Blessings.